E11.12. Lawrence Spa issued 400,000 euros 7% 20-year bond on January 1st, 2020 for 360,727. This price resulted in an effective interest rate of 8% on the bonds. Interest is payable annually on January 1st. Lawrence uses the effective interest method to amortize bond premium or discount. Instructions. Prepare the journal entries to record the following. Round to the nearest zero. The issuance of the bond. This one is easy. The date is January 1st of 2020. Every time you issue bonds, you're going to get cash for issuing these bonds, right? Because you're selling these bonds to other people. So your cash has to go up, and the number of bonds that you're issuing also has to go up, right? And since over here we have bonds payable means that this is a liability, right? If you remember liabilities, they are minus and a plus. They are credit balance accounts, right? Which means that in this position, these bonds are going up, and they're going up because we are issuing them, okay? This value over here is always the issuance price or the present value. If you issue your bonds at face value, then your issuance price is going to be equal to your face value. But in this case, we have two different numbers, right? Which means that they were not issued at face value. This is the value that they spent in order to issue this bond. So this is the issuance price, the present value. So we're going to have to use that value over here. Sometimes they're not going to give this value to you, but they're going to give you all of the other information, like for example the number of periods, the rates, the value, and then you would have to calculate by yourself. In this case, they gave it to us, so we can just write like this. B. The accrual of interest and the discount amortization on December 31st of 2020. Okay, every time you hear discount amortization or premium amortization, that means that you're gonna have to make a table. Something else, here we know that we're talking about discount amortization because they just mentioned it to us. Yes, but besides that, we also know due to the numbers that they gave us. Why is that? Because do you see? Because you see over here they said effective interest rate. Effective interest rate, that means market rate. So every time you hear this name, it's just a fancier name for market rate. That is 8%. And we have this other rate over here, which is the contract rate. What was the rate that was actually written in the contract when you signed it? Well, every time if you have a market rate that is bigger than your contract rate, you're going to have a discount. And another way for you to know that is that over here we have the issuance price is less than the face value as well. This is also another way for you to know that this is a discount bond. But over here, they wrote it for us, so we are definitely sure that this is a discount bond. Okay, now it's time to make our table. When you make premium amortization or discount amortization tables, I recommend you to have 5 columns. The first one is the date, followed by the cash interest, the interest expense, the discount or premium, in this case it is the discount, amortization, and the book value of your bonds payable. Okay, so the bonds were issued on January 1st of 2020, and interest is payable also on January 1st, which means that all the dates are gonna have to be January 1st, starting with January 1st, 2020, and then January 1st, 2021. And it wants us to accrue the interest until December 31st of 2020. So in theory, we could just stop here, but I'm going to make one more just to be more clear. Okay, so a few important things here for us to know is that the first interest that we have is the cash interest, right? For this interest, we are going to use the contract rate. Okay, in this case, it is 7%. Since this is the rate that was stated on the contract, these numbers are not going to change, right? Because this is the same interest that I have to pay every year or every month according to my contract. So these numbers, they're not going to change. Okay, then we have the interest expense. This one, it is calculated with our market rate. In our case, our market rate is 8%. So these ones over here, they do change over time. And then we're gonna have the discount amortization, which is going to be this minus this. And we are going to have the current book value of bonds payable. Since this is a discount amortization, here we're gonna plus. It is counterintuitive. For example, if this table, we were doing a premium amortization, this column, we would be subtracting it. It would be a minus. But since this is a discount over here, we added. So just remember that it is counterintuitive, this column over here. Okay, all right. So it was issued on January 1st of 2020, which means that for the first year, we don't have anything, right? So we just have the current book value because this is the beginning of the year. So at the beginning of the year, we just have the issuance price, which is this one over here, correct? Then on January 1st of 2021 and January 1st, 2022, that's when we paid the previous year interest. So on January 1st of 2021, we paid 2020. And then on 2022, we paid 2021. Like this, okay? All right. So like I said, the cash interest is how much you will actually be paying per year or per month according to your contract. So according to your contract, this was the face value, correct? Of the bond. So over here, we're gonna have 400,000 times 7%. Yeah, that gives us 28,000. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat this number here because this one does not change. I'm going to keep paying 28,000 every year because this was what was agreed on the contract, correct? But the market rate is this one over here. And this one does change. So we're going to start with the issuance price, 360,727, and multiply by 8%. We can round it, right? Yeah, so 28,858. Then the discount amortization or the premium amortization is going to be the difference between these two numbers, right? In this case, we're going to do this minus this, which is going to give us 858. But let's just write it here in order to be more clear. Okay. Now, last column, remember, even though we are dealing with discount amortization, this column is counterintuitive, right? So here we're going to add. So we're going to have this original issuance price plus this discount amortization over here. $361,585. Okay, yeah. For this column, remember that we use the issuance price, right? Or the current book value. Now, this is the current book value, so we're going to be using this number over here. Same rate of 8%. That gives us 28,900 and approximately 27. Yeah, okay. Now the difference is just going to be 927, right? Okay, and now the book value is going to be the previous book value plus the difference that we just calculated. That is 362,512. Okay, now we are ready to make our entry. They want us to accrue the interest and the discount amortization on December 31st of 2020. Like I said, December 31st of 2020, it is not in this year, right? This is actually the beginning of the year. We don't even have interest here. We are going to record that interest according to this column over here, because on January 1st of 2021, that's when we paid the interest recorded for the previous year of 2020. So December 31st of 2020. Okay, first things first, we're gonna have interest expense. How much in total am I actually paying? My original interest plus that discount amortization. Okay, then we have the original interest that we were going to pay. The interest that, regardless if we have discount amortization or preview amortization, that was the interest that was agreed upon when we signed the contract, right? And then we are going to have the actual discount amortization. Since we don't have an account for that, we call it bonds payable because we're crediting it to bonds payable. Okay, so the interest payable, this is the interest that I would have to pay anyways, right? The interest payable according to the contract. So it's going to be this number over here. It's going to be 28,000. When I signed the contract, I signed it for 400,000, right? And I agreed with 7% per year. So this is the interest that regardless of what, I still have to pay it. So that's why we put this number over here. Then the bonds payable, this is going to be the discount amortization. So in our case, since we're looking at 2020, it is 858, and the interest expense is the total amount that I would be spending according to the initial interest, right, plus the discount amortization. So we just have to add these two numbers like this. Let's see letter C. The payment of interest on January 1st of 2021. Okay, so you are paying it, right? When you pay something, your cash has to go down. And you are just paying the regular interest. So here we credit interest payable, not interest expense, interest payable, because you're just paying the regular interest that you agreed upon before. So it is going to be 28,000 for both of them.